Hi, my name is Mark Feriante. I'm originally from the California Bay Area. I'm actually a fourth generation Bay Area native. My great grandfather immigrated from Sicily in the early 1900s. I, let's see, I'm a JD MBA. In terms of my background in EB5, I originally started at a small law firm in a law firm setting, and that was my first introduction to EB5. From there, I shifted to an EB5, a boutique EB5 consulting firm called Wright Johnson. And then that consulting firm got acquired by a big public accounting firm called Baker Tilly in 2017. And just as of a few months ago, I'm now on board with EB5AN. And the reason that I joined EB5AN is because I've had the chance to be in the industry and see how EB5AN operates for over the course of many years since I started in the EB5 industry in 2013, and just been able to see the dedication to transparency and to setting investors as a priority, to educating provide information that distilled a very complicated program into very simple terms and that was easily digestible and easy to understand, that also minimize risks for investors in the way it's structured as projects in the project selection process, that in the partners it aligned with, like Coulter. And so those are some of the reasons that I joined EB5AN, and just having a very talented team with diverse backgrounds who have long pedigrees in the EB5 space as well. Another thing that I'll touch on is the fact that we have, because of the collective institutional knowledge with people at EB5AN who have such long histories in EB5, our capability to assist investors has increased to navigate this maze of a federal bureaucracy, which is difficult. And so our ability has increased to assist investors. Also, investors are more informed and more sophisticated, which has had the result of higher expectations for quality projects with increased transparency, with a group like Coulter, who's already targeting developments in the southeastern region of the US and in these rural qualified areas. They aren't trying to go out and find a rural area where to do a project so they can take in EB5 money. They are just developing like they normally do according to their business model, and targeted these areas where the demand is. And then EB5 just happens to benefit from their rural qualified status, which, as we've mentioned, has the 20% reserve visa category and faster processing. So that alignment is ideal and optimal for investors at this time to safeguard their investments and also to fast track them through the immigration process. Through my background in EB5 over the course of over a decade, and being at different consulting firms in a law firm setting, and most recently at Baker Tilly, I've helped or provide consulting to different regional centers and different industry stakeholders, and seen thousands of different projects and business plans. And there's a clear distinction between the level of quality and the validity of the analysis and the level of verification and the quality of the deal structures that EB5AN implements compared to the rest of the industry, which is something that sets themselves apart, and which is what attracted me to EB5AN as well. One thing I'll also touch on is the fact that a lot of times clients, because of the long processing times at USCIS, it was sort of became a standard practice to just file the application even though it was deficient and hope to cure at the RFE stage. That approach is rife with there are many risks associated with taking that approach, and it's not advisable. And the fact that EB5AN makes sure that everything is completely verified, there's no deficiencies, goes through a rigorous internal review before anything is ever filed. And for that reason, EB5AN, all of its projects in recent days all of the last 14 956 project applications have been approved without a single RFE. One thing I'd like to emphasize is that the way the industry operates is that oftentimes they will use third-party service providers to provide consulting and to provide documents like business plans or economic reports, which is what I did at Baker Tilly. And that can be problematic because there can be internal inconsistencies between the documents. At EB5AN, they have the expertise, the know-how to develop their own documentation and to do it in such a way that the level of quality is much higher. And for that reason, they have a very strong reputation and an excellent track record with USCIS, and most often will receive approval without any questions from the Immigration Service without issuing a single RFE. Finding a project that and the parties involved that are truly independent is critical because of the conflict of interest that do arise. I've seen projects where the attorney has ownership in the regional center that's providing affiliation, and that also is providing the consulting services and the documentation and even a market study. It's very difficult to say that attorney can truly be independent when it has so many conflicting interests. So the way EB5AN is structured is to maintain independence and to provide that security for investors. One thing that I'll also point out is the conflict that can arise because of the lack of visibility. And one thing that EB5AN did recently was partner with Customers Bank to analyze escrow data, because FOIA data, by the time it's received, it's almost obsolete. And also it gives an inaccurate picture of what's really happening. So to avoid these conflicts of lack of visa availability in the past that created backlogs, EB5AN has been very innovative in pursuing different channels where we can gain additional insights and visibility that the industry didn't have previously. So I think that's of vital importance to maintain that visibility on behalf of investors, to look after their best interests. One thing that I will add is to consider different options and to look at evaluate different project choices and different, risk profiles or investment terms to make sure that it's a good fit. I would also say, to understand the different parties involved, their experience, their reputation, to make sure that the documentation was adequately prepared in terms of qualifying expenditures and job creation analysis, in the economic analysis. Also, one really critical thing I think is it a project that's offering a completion guarantee, a job creation guarantee, also an EB5 approval guarantee, and a developer guarantee? Can they truly vouch for the project and to minimize the risk?